Bienvenidos amigos de Qué Padres Tan Padres, estamos aquí en una edición muy especial. Estamos en Disneylandia, bueno, específicamente en California Adventure Park. No venimos a ver a Mickey y Minnie hoy, vinimos a el California Adventure Food and Wine Festival y aquí estamos muy listos para tomar y comer y disfrutar de unas buenísimas gourmet comidas. Y ya tenemos aquí nuestro Sip and Savor Pass, que es un pase especial que te da varios opciones para ir a comer y probar. De lo que les vamos a mostrar aquí, tenemos diferentes tienditas, diferentes opciones que tienen para probar las comidas gourmet especial que tienen para este festival famosísimo en todo el mundo. Y aquí estamos hoy, así que vamos.
Comiendo y pisteando.
Y amigos, le vamos a tener algo muy especial porque nos inscribimos para ver una chef que es buenísima, es una latina, luchadora, ganadora de MasterChef y sí pasó las pruebas de Gordon Ramsay. La vamos a ver aquí hoy y la vamos vamos a conocerla, a ver qué nos dice, a ver si habla con nosotros. Así que vamos a ver si podemos tener esa opción especial para ustedes hoy.
She also keeps super busy as a passionate philanthropist. She gives to amazing organizations right here in Southern California. And now she is the television audience's queen on Telemundo, where you can enjoy seeing her as the judge on the new MasterChef Latino. So please, will you please put your hands together, and we need to give a really warm, loud, warm welcome for the Telemundo queen, Chef Claudia Sandoval. Here she is. You love that.
I totally love it.
That's really you right now. Tell us about what you're up to, girl.
It has been such a whirlwind. Like I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like how did I go from contestant to judge? Like I'm sure that like everyone's asking themselves that, and I mean I think it's so exciting. I think now though, having dealt with Gordon Ramsay, we should get started with the fish. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me do it.
Better? Yeah. Okay, so one of the really important things that I wanted to mention about this is swordfish that has the bloodline removed.
Yes.
You want to remove the bloodline because it kind of has a little bit more metallic-y flavor. It's just not good. So if you ever buy like a full swordfish steak at your fishmonger or wherever you obtain your fish, make sure that you definitely cut out that bloodline.
Show them where that is. It's kind of interesting. It's going to be kind of along the side here.
Yes.
And all you have to do, super simple. It looks a little bit difficult to do. As soon as your knife goes into the flesh, all you do is just pull it off on one side.
Yeah.
And again on the other piece, it comes right off. It's really simple. And actually use them for like soups and stuff.
Yes, for
and
stock.
it actually adds such a good quality flavor.
100%.
And the fish sauce, obviously.
I love
good.
using it for fish stock.
Yeah.
I'm a purveyor of like do not waste anything.
Yeah.
So even the skins, what I'll do is I'll usually saute them a little bit just to kind of get that nice caramelization, that Maillard effect, right? And get that reaction so that I can get it all nice and caramelized, and then I drop some water in there, and then just make sure to pull out all of those flavors. You're not going to eat it. You could eat it, but obviously you don't want to eat swordfish skin, so just kind of pull it out, skim it out, but drop some your regular mirepoix, your onion, your celery, your carrots, do all that. But
yeah, we're going to come once or twice with you actually.
Oh yeah. I make this sauce already a lot.
I love it.
But
and the reason I love it is because she makes it so simple.
It is.
And
it's super
so
easy.
flavorful.
It is super easy.
Yeah.
How many of you actually have worked with tomatillos before?
Couple people.
Oh, not that many. See, this is exactly why I like to talk about them. This is a tomatillo. You guys want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
This is great. Have you guys heard of the MasterChef cruise?
Yeah.
There's a MasterChef cruise?
Oh yeah. It's a thing. There's also a Camp MasterChef.
What?
Oh yeah. Side note, I just posted about it. I'm gonna be at Camp MasterChef, so if your child is between 8 and 16, they can totally be at Camp MasterChef.
Whoa, okay.
Oh yeah. And I'm not trying to plug it. That's kind of cool. I get there and they're like, here are your tomatillos. And I'm like, sir, those are green tomatoes.
Oh,
And he goes, that's the same thing.
no. No, sir.
Sir, are you trying to tell me what a green tomato is a tomatillo?
What?
What did you do? You just made it with green tomatoes.
I had to. I had no choice. We're in the middle of the ocean. The Caribbean,
And
to be
people were like,
exact.
ooh, this is the best salsa verde I've ever had.
Yeah,
No,
pretty
you never
much.
know.
No, I mean, I had to like up the acidity by
course.
adjusting with lime juice and things like that, but it's not the same. So do not think that green tomatoes are the same thing as tomatillos. If it doesn't have this little green husk on it, you see it? If it doesn't have that little green husk on the outside, it's not a tomatillo. It's actually a different variety, just so you know. It is still in the tomato family, but it is not the same thing. So I peeled back that husk, right? It looks all pretty. I usually try to take off the husk in one blow. Why? Because you can actually fry this up and eat it.
Ooh.
A lot of people would never tell you that, but it's so good.
I've never had that.
It's
Did you just do a
really-
little salt on top after?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Oh yeah, and it's
Let's try
super
it.
nice and crispy. It's almost the same thing as like a fried basil. So anyway, that's what the tomatillo looks like. What you want to do is you want to run that under hot water,
Right.
Kind of like a lukewarm water. Run that under water, and make sure that what'll happen, and I don't think you guys have, but what starts to happen is when you're washing it, it almost creates like a foam, like I don't know how I explain it. It's almost like a little foam, like if you had soap on it. But the thing is that a tomatillo actually has almost like a sticky texture on it. It's like a little residue that comes because of that husk. All you want to do is wash that off, and the more you wash it, you'll know when they're clean because there's no more of that foam.
Yeah, it'll feel just really nice and slippery.
Yeah, it'll
It's like
feel
an
just like a
apple.
tomato.
Yeah, or a tomato.
Like a green tomato. So anyway, then you drop that into a pot of boiling water
Right.
with about, well this is, no it's good, because I already boiled these.
Oh, good.
The TV magic.
Aha.
Mickey magic. So what I did was I boiled about 5 tomatillos. This is about 2 serrano chilies because I like it spicy. You could tone it back if you were not a really big fan of spice. Serrano is a little bit higher on the Scoville unit, which is the spice factor. You could change it to a jalapeno, or you could completely take it out. But we're gonna go ahead and stick with this.
Do you cut the tip off of this so that you can actually release some of the oil?
Yeah.
And so that it makes this mixture a little spicier?
No, it actually makes it less spicy.
Ah.
So if you cut off the actual tip of so this is what a serrano looks like, right? This is a serrano. If you actually just pull it back, you can actually taste it. I know that seems crazy, but you can actually taste it right there on the tip just to see how spicy it is. If it's really spicy, then I suggest cutting off just about maybe 1/4 of an inch off of it. And then once you put that into the water, because it releases some of that like real high spice, it'll actually tone down the spiciness of the serrano.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah. So even though I like it spicy, I decided to tone this back a little bit because don't want to burn your mouth or your mouth.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so just a couple is all you really need. You don't need more than 2.
You don't need more than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for this recipe.
Yeah.
And this recipe is in my cookbook, so if you have my cookbook, we're gonna go ahead and drop these in. So again, this is about 3 tomatillos. Look. And what you want to do is you want to drop just the tomatillos. You don't want to add any
water.
Right, any of the boiling liquid. And the reason for that is that the tomatillos actually do absorb some of that boiling liquid. Sometimes your tomatillos will absorb a lot more, sometimes they'll absorb a little less. So what I always recommend is blend it as it is, and then what'll happen is you'll notice that you'll notice what the consistency will be like, and you can add the boiling liquid later if you need it to be a little more runny. Because sometimes, like say for example, you're making chilaquiles. For chilaquiles, you want them to be a little bit more runny so that the tortillas can absorb them. But for tacos, you kind of want it a little chunky. So,
especially for a swordfish dish, I feel like I would want this a little bit more on the chunky side.
100%
And you can always
agree.
add more water, but it's hard to take it out unless you boil more tortillas.
right. I add raw garlic to this, just because we're Mexican and we love ourselves some raw garlic. To that, I'm going to add these chili pods.
Can
These
you show
are,
them these in the camera?
yeah, let me show them.
These are great.
These are called chile de árbol. Can you guys see that? Probably not as well, but
You can always find these in the produce section also, in
Yeah.
the Mexican spice blend usually, where they're gonna have dried chilies and Mexican spices. It's different than the rest of the spices. I don't know why they separate them, but I love that they do. And you can get a big bag of them, which
yeah.
I love.
And what I love about these is they're smoky. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Like they're almost,
Yeah.
They're almost like a chipotle, but not as smoky, right? Because they haven't purposefully been smoked, but during the drying process, it actually gets kind of nice and smoky.
And do you actually sometimes remove the seeds inside?
No.
No, you always keep them. Oh,
Remember, Claudia likes it spicy.
really?
Plus, because they only have very few, like seeds,
Pods, yeah.
it would be really hard to break them up and take them out. I have to fish really closely. I'm sure you can see this.
Yes.
Everybody else may not be able to see this, but because of the lime component in the, it's not very clear.
What she's mentioning is, I'm gonna walk to the front.
Yeah.
Just so you guys can kind of see it a little bit clearer.
It's
starting to
almost
bubble.
starting to pickle it,
Starting
almost
to
like
pickle
cure
the
it, like
top
those
of it. You
ceviche
can kinda
would,
see that.
because of
Yeah.
the lime.
You guys see
It's
that?
starting to almost turn white,
Yeah.
like if it was getting cooked. So I wanted to mention that because I wanted to prove that it actually is lime juice in the tajin.
We had no doubt. And it also has a lot of salt too, so you don't need to like salt this again.
Yes, this is fully seasoned.
Yes.
And the reason why I over season on this is because it's gonna go on the grill and you're gonna lose some of that seasoning, okay? So whenever you're doing a really thick, nice steak, make sure that you over season because again, you're gonna lose some of that seasoning on the pan.
And on the plate as well.
And on the plate, exactly. Even though you put all of that beautiful oil, it doesn't matter.
And do you like to do this on a backyard barbecue grill, or do you do this in home on a grill pan? What's your preference? Do you have one?
Yes, I do have a preference. I personally prefer to do it in home.
Yeah.
The reason why is I love cast iron. Anybody else love cast iron out there?
No.
Yeah. You're my people.
Yeah.
I love cast iron. I think it just adds so much flavor. Probably because there's a ton of other flavors there too. But yeah, no, I absolutely love cast iron, and I love how much more control you can have over it. Specifically because, as I'm sure anybody that grills out there knows, that the temperatures can really vary whenever you're grilling.
Yeah.
So what's this temperature at? 7?
Yeah, if you want it on a 9.
Let's put it. Yeah, let's push it up a little higher.
We'll go all the way up.
So yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Vamos a probar aquí. A ver qué tal.
I can take your guys'
I will take you up. I'm trying to get his reaction here. Let's see, is it good? ¿Está bueno o no?
Está rico.
Halfway full with ice.
No nos vamos a alcanzar bien. Esta miel está muy líquida.
¿Quién sabe si es de verdad?
No sé si sea miel la abeja de pura de abeja, pero es como un jarabe para todo, ¿no?
Quizás. Y aquí
Remedio
vamos a
casero.
mezclarlo.
Sí.
Mezcla aquí. Ok.
Tápalo bien porque si no te va a salir. Está toda una bartender por un día en Disney. A los seguidores para que vean que sí le sabe.
A ver. Tiene buen olor. Y como tiene...
Lo que te dije, pues es como cuando tienes tos. Esta combinación es como cuando tienes
perfecto.
tos.
Ok, y luego que se
Y tu
hace.
abuelita te dio el remedio casero de miel con limón.
Y luego que se hace, se pone adentro otra vez. Ahora vamos a poner aquí. No se meta ningún hielito, pero que está frío, porque como vieron ya estaba descansando con el hielo. Era la naranjita y le presiones un poco para que salgan los aceititos que carga la cáscara. También le pones así. ¿Estás mirando aquí? Y luego ya se pura adentro. Y si eres un bartender profesional le puedes poner como ahí una yema, ¿no?
Flama.
Sí, una flama. Ok, ya. A ver, salud.
Yo pienso que el bartender ya está happy, ¿no? Y que nos dio la clase.
Está rico. Está rico y si tienes tos te va a ayudar tu garganta.